What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Alright, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the brother Jonathan Collins for the $10 donation via the Cash App. Much respect to him for showing love to Too Raw for TV, aka Too Raw for Sports. Alright, so this is a question I got from one of my subscribers, and that is Jerry Krause a good general manager, or was he a good general manager, or was he overrated? Now, this is just my opinion. I tend to have the belief that he was a very good general manager. Michael Jordan would begrudgingly give him credit on that. Even Scottie Pippen, who grew to despise Jerry Krause, called him at one point the greatest general manager in the game. So I do believe he was great. I just don't think that he was as good as he thought he was. You know what I mean? He thought that he was like a Napoleon-level strategizer who could almost single-handedly piecemeal a team together after the dynasty and create another dynasty. And that's when he made the biggest mistake of his career. And ultimately, he had to resign. I think it was 5 years after the dynasty ended. Because he saw that, yes, management plays a pivotal role, but it's the players that win championships. And he lucked up. They lucked up and drafted Michael Jordan. Right? Look, what makes Jerry Krause a good general manager? He made some great moves. All right? He made some stupid moves. They drafted Dennis Hopson. You may be asking, who is Dennis Hopson? My point exactly. Brad Sellers. Some of you may be asking, who's Brad Sellers? My point exactly. Yeah, he made some bad mistakes. Everybody does. But at the same time, look, they both came in. When I say both, I mean him and Jerry Reinsdorf. They both came in at 85. Now, that did coincide with Michael Jordan's rookie year. That has something to do with it. All right? It definitely has something to do with it. But consider this. Even us Krause haters have to give him credit. He's the one that saw the potential in Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen was drafted not by the Chicago Bulls, but by the Seattle Sonics. The Bulls had drafted, I believe, was Olden Polynice. But he saw the potential in a potential secondary superstar in Scottie Pippen. He's the one that pushed that draft day trade to get Scottie Pippen at the 5th pick in the 87 draft. Then he saw the development of Horace Grant, saw that Horace Grant could potentially replace Charles Oakley and therefore make Charles Oakley expendable, which is what they did. They traded Charles Oakley June 27th, 1988. I always remember that day because it's the same day that Mike Tyson knocked out Michael Spinks in 91 seconds. But that's the day that he was traded to the Knicks, Oakley, in exchange for Bill Cartwright, which was something they were lacking, which was a scoring center. And if you're hearing noise in the background, it's just family members of mine gaming, so don't worry about it. But anyway, then of course the signing of Tony Kukoc, that was a big move by Jerry Krause and the management. I would also put in there later on getting, and I think this gets forgotten, a guy like Bison Dele, injecting some youth in an aging Chicago Bulls team. And then there are probably some other signings that I'm forgetting. I think that it was important that after the 93 season, the Bulls saw that they were getting older. The management saw that the Bulls were getting older. And they signed players like Steve Kerr, a great sharpshooter. Luke Longley, I think they got him in a trade from the. What was it, a trade or was he a free agent signing? I can't remember some of these things anymore, but I think Luke Longley was playing with the Timberwolves, I remember correctly, and they acquired him. I can't remember whether it was trade or whether it was free agent signing. Probably free agent signing. Ultimately, you know what I'm saying, they got players like Pete Myers, they got players like Ron Harper, and a lot of these guys would stay on. Bill Winnington, another one. A lot of these guys would stay on and play for the secondary three-peat, which, in which they starred in. Another player that they got in the draft that I thought was a really good player was B.J. Armstrong. So look, so at the end of the day, Jerry Krause had a lot of success, but what mars him is his ego. That's what mars him, is his ego. You know what I mean? He thought that he was the almost solitary figure behind the dynasty. One other thing I want to give him credit for too is he's the one that brought Phil Jackson into the organization. Phil Jackson was coaching some league overseas, Puerto Rican league or something, Puerto Rican pro basketball. And by 1989, Phil had become the head coach of the Chicago Bulls after being Doug Collins' assistant coach for a year or two. So he did some important things, but he fucked up. He fucked up because he thought that he could, instead of letting the dynasty play itself out. Michael wanted to play one more year, 98, 99. Now, I've known I said that, hey, in real life, Michael fucked his finger up, he'd have had to miss half the season. But maybe, if Michael's mindset was on playing, that event wouldn't have happened. Maybe he'd have been extra careful. I don't know. You can argue that. But be that as it may, Michael wanted to play that last season and finish, at least have the ability to try to defend that sixth title. They never got a chance to do so because Jerry Krause was just so adamant on wiping that team clean and rebuilding. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The Chicago Bulls have been rebuilding since 1998. Oh, we've had some teams that were good, but ultimately something fucking happened. So here we are in 2023, 25 years later, and essentially the Bulls are rebuilding again. So he gets rid of everybody, hires some coach we never heard of named Tim Floyd, who was a colossal disaster in the NBA. Matter of fact, I think he was gone by like 2001 or something. And then by 2003, Jerry Krause himself was gone. I think he resigned. So at the end of the day, I look at it like this, man. Was Jerry Krause a good general manager? Yes. Was he a genius? No. That's how I look at it. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.